Hi, everyone. We're here to talk to you today about our Prismatic arts-based research, an arts-based look at educational perspectives on professional learning communities. I'm here today with my colleagues Marni Fisher, Tara Falce, and Kimiya Sohrab Maghzi.
And that was Meredith Dorner.
And I'm Meredith Dorner. As far as the purpose of our research and our objectives, our goal was to have a school engage in a self-study through which we would gather teacher perspectives on effective professional learning communities from an educator viewpoint. We would then be able to center educator voices and advocate for the building of empowering professional learning communities within educational systems. And hopefully this would all lead us to recommendations and suggestions for meaningful change by exploring key elements that promote effective and collaborative practices we could lead to educational transformation.
In line with Cotter's advice, professional learning communities introduced in the early 2000s are collaborative networks of educators dedicated to improving teaching practices and student learning outcomes. These communities offer a platform for ongoing dialogue, sharing best practices, analyzing student data, and collaborating on instructional strategies. By fostering a culture of continuous learning and teamwork, PLCs aim to promote school improvements and support the success of all students. PLCs are based on the belief that sustained professional development and collaboration among educators is crucial for building effective schools. Starting a PLC involves organizing teams focused on learning, providing dedicated time for collaboration, and ensuring school structures support shared responsibility for student success and continuous teamwork. Dufour and Dufour highlight the importance of shared goals, collective accountability, and results-focused efforts within PLCs. These processes often begin with identifying behaviors that hinder positive group experiences and establishing commitments to behaviors that foster productive outcomes. Additionally, PLCs may adopt SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound, to track progress and guide effective action.
Prismatic theory expands on Deleuze and Guattari's concept of rhizomatic theory, emphasizing mapping instead of the mere tracing of linear patterns. The rhizome concept centers on examining a phenomenon from multiple angles to deterritorialize hierarchical and arborescent paradigms. Prismatic theory also seeks to identify overlooked and hidden aspects. Paired with art-based research, prismatic theory encourages multiple ways to view the world. So our key inquiry questions were: one, what have your experiences been with PLCs? Would you characterize these experiences as good or bad? And two, how do you advocate to support educators' perspectives in the field? And also, this research really advocates for both including teacher viewpoints in educational research, but also creating empowering professional learning communities with educators.
This study employs narrative inquiry as it focuses on participant perspective, while also offering an opportunity to highlight the needs of individuals with disabilities and the lived experiences of those who are minoritized. Narrative inquiry also relies on trustworthiness. The whole research team was invited to serve as participant researchers, composing a short narrative based on the prompt. Please write a page or two covering what does it mean to you to be a member of a professional learning community? What have you seen or done? And what do you see as effective or non-effective elements for PLC practice? What is your perspective or experience on implementing educational change?
As for the study participants, one of the six responding educators, two were school counselors, two were K-5 general education teachers, and two were K-8 teachers who had moved into leadership roles. Participants all identified as women between the ages of 25 to 55. and are representative of both the dominant and non-dominant ethnic backgrounds. One participant self-identified as having an invisible disability, and then another identified as not exactly binary. While all participants had completed a minimum of 1 year in the educational field, 2 leaders reported more than 10 years of experience. So utilizing an arts-based lens, researchers reviewed the narratives composing and found poetry that centralized and represented each research participant. So found poetry is developed from an existing text, creating a rich and insightful analysis and representation in order to essentialize the narrative. Found poetry presents opportunities to investigate and present the multidimensional nature of narratives, allowing for nuances that are often overlooked in the lived experiences to emerge.
Looking over the narratives highlighted both the problems with bad PLCs. This included those that were not authentically supported by leadership, poorly directed, filled with busy work, or broken. Any of these results in problems with consistency, connection, and follow-throughs. With that being said, the elements of a good PLC supported both the individual and collective learning. This involved strong communication, managing change, and leaning on the group's collective knowledge. The benefits of collective knowledge were especially helpful when overcoming idea blocks. As quoted, there have been many instances where I was working on a new project or unit, and while initially excited and full of ideas, I would run into a roadblock. This is when working with a team of educators is crucial. The exchange of ideas between colleagues leads to deeper thinking and better lesson development using a variety of strategies and sources as suggested by the team rather than individuals. Being a member of a PLC means I have the support, ideas, suggestions, and perspective of the individuals I'm working with to create meaningful experiences for my students and deepen their understanding of concepts taught, as described by Narrative 1. These PLCs also have strong group dynamics, fostering both open communication and team connections. SMART goals and data protocols. Professional orientation with a strong PLC maintains a solid purpose and a collective focus on data-driven practices while maintaining a student-centered focus. The development of clear SMART goals and a data team protocol fostered as such. A very objective SMART goal was then written to help our team measure students' learning. 2 key components of SMART goals are that they can be measured and that there is a time frame in which this goal is to be revisited. When revisiting your goals, it is important to know that if a student does not achieve your team's SMART goal, it is not considered a failure. The amount of success and pride the team took in completing these protocol cycles every year was unexplainable. Teachers work endlessly to help students learn, but oftentimes the wins or celebrations can be diminished by student behavior, low student engagement, or simply a bad day. Revisiting these goals at the end of the year help all of us put into perspective the work that is poured into each individual student throughout the year. Furthermore, PLCs with structures and systems in place to maintain focus-supported team consistency. And finally, the PLC focus was also recognized as having become inherent within school culture.
Here are our references, and thank you.
Thank you.